Hello students, welcome to Sreenath. In this video, we are going to discuss the decimals chapter, which is the 8th chapter from 6th class CBSE Max subject students. Okay, so without wasting time, we are going to discuss the detailed full chapter students. Okay, so my name is Karthik Nune. We are creating videos on all chapters and all subjects from class 6 to class 12 students. So please do subscribe our channel. Also like and share our videos students. So if you see students, decimals, this is our present chapter name, and already we have discussed previous chapter, that is what fractions. So fractions and decimals are related to each other students. Okay, so before we're going to start the session, let's check what are the concepts we are going to learn. So first there is introduction, and next there is tenths, and obviously after tenths there will be hundreds students. So representing decimals on number line. So how to represent the decimals on number line, we are going to learn about it students. There are some example problems, we are going to learn about all those things also students. After completing it, fractions as decimals. So we have learned about fractions, how fractions can be converted into decimals students. Next thing is decimals as fractions, how decimals are converted into fractions. So next thing is that students, hundreds. Previously we have discussed about tenths, now it is hundreds term. So after discussing it, we are going to solve some problems, and next thing, there are some example problems we are going to solve now students. After that, exercise problems which we don't solve, and next thing is comparing decimals. So how to compare two decimals, which decimal is greater or which decimal is smaller. So you came to know about this also students. Later thing is using decimals. So and how and where we use decimals. In the case of money, in the case of length, and in the case of weight, we will use the decimals. And next thing is addition of numbers with the decimals. So how we add two numbers with use of decimals. Simply how to add decimals students, that's it. Example problems. And next thing, subtraction. So we have discussed how to add. Next we have to discuss about how to subtract. That is the whole chapter students. So this is the whole chapter which we are going to discuss now students completely. So without wasting time, we are going to start. Our present chapter name is decimals, which is the 8th chapter from 6th class CBSE Math students. So in the introduction, Sevita and Shyama was going to market to buy some stationery items. So Sevita said, I had. So what Sevita said students? How much money Sevita is having? She is having 5 rupees and 75 paisa. And what Shyama is telling? Shyama is telling that she had 7 rupees and 50 paisa. Okay students, so they know how to write rupees and paisa using decimals. So they know how to write together the rupees and paisas in terms of decimals. So they have write, say they had write as 5.75 rupees finally, and Shyama has write as 7.50 rupees. So if you use the decimals, 5 rupees 75 paisa will convert into 5.75 rupees. If you use decimals, 7 rupees 50 paisa will convert into 7.5 rupees. That is the thing students. So have them write correctly or not. So here there is a dot, we call that as the decimal point students. What it is? Decimal point. So here we are going to work with decimals. We are going to learn about decimal students. First we'll learn about tenths, how we have to learn. So Ravi and Raju measured the lengths of their pencils. So Ravi and Raju both are having two pencils. So both are having, each having one pencil, and they have measured the length of their pencils. If it is a pencil, what is its length? Like that, students. So and they said that Ravi's pencil was 7 centimeters 5 millimeters long. 7 centimeters and 5 millimeters long. And Raju said his pencil is 8 centimeters and 3 millimeters long. So they have expressed their lengths in terms of centimeters and meters. Can you do this task? Can you express the lengths in only in terms of centimeters? Can you do this? Yeah, if you can do it, just comment below. So we know the relation between centimeters and millimeters. That is nothing but 1 centimeter is equals to 10 millimeters, students. In other words, if you wish, you can write in another way also. Or so 1 centimeter equal to 10 millimeters. Then so I am just writing reverse, students, that is 10 millimeters equals to 1 centimeter. Okay, students. So now 10 millimeters is equals to 1 centimeter. But what about 1 millimeter? 1 millimeter, it is equals to nothing but 1 by 10 of centimeters. Okay, students. So we can rub it. So we know 10 millimeters equal to 1 centimeter. Then 1 millimeter is equal to how much? That is nothing but 1 by 10 centimeters, students. Or we called as 1/10 centimeter. Or in another way, we call that it as 0.1 centimeters. Here point represents the decimal symbol, students. So according to it, what is the thing? 1 millimeter is equals to 0.1 centimeters. So we have converted the millimeters into centimeters right now, students. Okay, so now we have to express the Ravi and Raju's length of the pencils in terms of only centimeters. You need not to write the millimeters. Okay, students, you have to just write the centimeters. So 7 centimeters. If you do this task, so now we will find out for Ravi's pencil. What is the length of the Ravi's pencil? It is 7 centimeters and 5 millimeters. So that is equal to 7 into 5 by 10 millimeters. Sorry, centimeters. Can you get the answer? Can you get the trick how I have written it? So I have written 7 as it is, and I have written 5 as 5 by 10. Why? And I have changed here, there is millimeters, but I didn't write it here millimeters. So we know that 1 millimeter equal to 0.1 centimeters, or 1 millimeter equal to 1 by 10 centimeters. I have used this 1 millimeter equal to 1 by 10 centimeters. So here there is 1 millimeter, that is for 1 by 10 centimeter, and there is 5, that's why I have multiplied with the 5. So it becomes 5 by 10 centimeters. 7 into 5 by 10 centimeters. So I will write that as 5 by 10 means that is 0.5. So finally we can write it as 7.5 centimeters. Okay, students, that is the case. And coming to Raju's pencil, its length is 8 centimeters and 3 millimeters. So how I will write? That is 8 into 3 by 10 centimeters. So 1 millimeter equal to 1 by 10 centimeters. That's why I have converted 1 millimeter here into 1 by 10 here, 1 by 10 centimeters. And there is already 3, that's why I have multiplied with 3. So it will becomes 8 into 3 by 10 centimeters. That is 8 centimeters and 3/10 of a centimeter. So it is written as 8.3 millimeters. That's it, students. So in this way we will use the tenths. Okay, students. So let us understand it using pictorials. So let us recall what we have learnt earlier, students. Suppose if you show units by blocks, then 1 unit is 1 block. So if you show the units by block, so 1 unit means 1 block. If you take 1 block, it is 1 unit. Okay, students. If you take 2 units, then you have to take 2 blocks. If you take 3 units, you have to take 3 blocks. So I will explain you clearly. Don't worry, students. 1 unit means 1 block. Then 2 units means 2 blocks. 3 units means like the 2 units means 2 blocks. 3 units means 3 blocks, like that. So now if you divide 1 block into 10 pieces, 1 block divide into 10 equal parts, 1 block, then each part is what? Each part, which means each part are called as 1 part. 1 part is equal to how much, friends? That is 1/10 of unit. So one block is 1 unit, but 1 block is converted into 10 equal parts, which means 1 block is equals to 10 parts. 10 parts, 1 block equal to 10 parts. Then 1 part is equals to 1 unit by 10 of units. That is 1 by 10 of units, or in other words we call it as or 1/10 of unit. Okay, friends. So this is for 1 part. So finally 1 part shows 1/10 of unit. So 2 parts shows what, students? That is 2/10 of units. And similarly 5 parts shows 5/10 of units, like that, students. Okay, so a combination of 2 blocks and 3 parts will be recorded as. So suppose if you add, students, suppose there is a combination of 2 blocks and 3 parts. So then how much it is? 2 blocks means it is 2, and 3 parts means what? 1 part is 2 blocks means 2 units, and 3 parts means what? 3/10 of units, 3/10 of units. Okay, friends. So finally it can be written as 2.3 units. 2 and 3/10 is what? That is 0.3. 2 plus 0.3 is 2.3. Like that, students. So each tower represents 10 units, students. Okay, each tower represents 10 units. So how many towers? There are 2 towers. So 2 towers. So there is 10 units, 10 units, 10 units. How many 10 units are 2? And this is ones. How many ones? 1, 2, 3. So 3 units are there. And if you say there are parts, how many parts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 parts. So that is 5. So how we will represent it? So there are totally 2 towers. Each tower is having 10s. So it is 20 plus how many units are there? There are 3 units. So that's why 3. And how many parts are there? There are 5 parts. That is 5/10. Already are called as 0.5. So you can write 5/10. So it will give the answer as 23.5. It is called as 23.5, students. Like that you have to represent. Representing decimals on number line. How we will represent the decimals on number line, students? How we will represent the decimals on number line? So for that purpose, students, how we will representing decimals on number line. We represent fractions on a number line, students. We know how to represent the fractions on a number line. Let us represent decimals to on the number line. So we know that if there is 0.6, we know that it is less than 1 and it is greater than 0. Okay students, that is the case. So if you take the number line starting with 0 and 1 and 2, then where you will represent 0.6, it is obviously in between 0 and 1. Okay students, like that. So you will, if it is the 0.5, then it is 0.6. If it is the half. Okay students, for that what we have to do is, first you will divide the space between things into 10 equal parts. 10 equal parts. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So we have make the space between 0 and 1 into 10 equal parts, and we know that 0.6 is 6 by 10, 6 parts out of 10. So 1 part, 2 part, 3 part, 4 part, 5 part, 6 part. So it is 0.6. It is 0.6 students. And if you want to represent any other thing, so 2.3 number line. So if you want to represent 2.3, where it lies, it is greater than 2 and less than 3. So if it is 3, and if again you have to divide it into 10 equal parts. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So 2.3 is, it is 3 parts after 2, that is 1 2 3. Here it is the point 2.3. Like that we will represent the decimals on number line, students. Okay, so here there are examples. Write the following numbers in the place value table: 20.5 and 4.2. So we have to do this task, students. Example 1. Sorry students. So 20.1 and 4.2. So how we will represent the 20.5 and 4.2? Okay students, so we have to represent, write the following numbers in the place value tables. Place value tables, we have to represent tens, ones and tens. We know tens, ones and 1 by tens. This is a place value table, and you have to represent 20.5. So there are how many tens? 2 tens. 2 tens and 1 tenth. 1 tenth. So in tens place you have to write 2, in ones place you have to write 0, and in tens place you have to write 5. So it is not 5 students. How many 1 tenths? 5 tenths. 5 1 tenths. 5 1 tenths. This also 4 tenths. Okay students, so it is not 4 tenths, it is 4 ones and 2 1 tenths. That's why you will represent it in the ones. There is no in the tens place, and in the 1 tens place it is 2. Like that students. Write each of the following as decimals: 2 ones and example 2. We have to write these into decimals. 2 ones, there are 2 ones students. So if you take tens, ones and 1 tenths, there are 2 ones and 1 and 5 tenths. 5 tenths. So it is represent like 2.5. Okay students, so why? Because means it's 2 plus 1 tenth is 5 by 10, that is equal to 2.5. If you are having 30 and 1 tenth, so how many tenths are there? 3 tenths are there and 1 tenth, so there is no ones, and there are only 1 tenth, so then it becomes 3 plus 30, it is 33 into tens, it is tens, it is ones. 30 plus 1 by 10, it is 30.1. Like that you have to do this students. Next also fractions as decimals. So how we will represent the fractions in terms of decimal, students? We have already seen how a fraction with denominator 10 can represent using decimals, students. If there is a fraction with suppose 5 by 10, how will represent it is in the form of 0.5. 5 into 1 tenths. 1 tenths is 0.1. Like that, students. So let us now try to find decimal representation of 11 by 5 and 1 by 2. How to represent 11 by 5 in terms of decimals? So for that, students, you will write the equivalent fractions for 11 by 5, so that you have to get a fraction with denominator 10, so that we know how to write a fraction into decimal for which the fraction must have 10. So 11 by 5, if you write its equivalent form, it is 22 by 10. So it is 22 by 10. We can write it in the decimal forms, that is 20 plus 2 by 10, that is 20 by 10 plus 2 by 10. So if you see 20 by 10 is 2 plus 2 by 10. So how many 1 tenths? 2 1 tenths. And how many ones? 2 ones. So that is 2.2. Like that, friends. Therefore 22 by 10 is equals to 2.2. 22 by 10 is equals to 2.2, students. Otherwise, in other words, also we say 11 by 5 is, or that is equals to 11 by 5. You can do the same thing for 1 by 2, students. Here denominator is 2. You have to write equivalent factors. For that, you will multiply both denominator with 5, so that you will get 10 in the denominator. 5 by 10 is 0.5. That is the decimal notation. Now how to write the decimals as fractions? So students, if your fractions are having denominator 10, 2 and 5, we know how to write them in the decimals. So now if we are we have to write the decimals in terms of fractions, students. Okay, suppose if you have given the decimal, that is 1.2. How you will write it? 1.2 is nothing but 1 plus 0.2. So that's after decimal point, if there is a number, the first number is 1 tenths. So that is 2 by tenths. 1 tenths. How many 1 tenths are there? 2 1 tenths are there. How many ones are there? Only 1 ones are there. We know up to the point, all those are ones. If you cross the point, that is 1 tenths. 1 by hundreds. We have already discussed. So that is 1 plus 2 by 10. So if you write, we can write 10 as 10 by 1 as 10 by 10 plus 2 by 10. So it is 10 plus 2 by 10. It is nothing but 12 by 10. So we have written this decimal in the form of fractions, and we have also written here fractions in terms of decimals. So we can do both these things, students. We don't solve exercise problems, students. So if you want exercise problems to be solved by us, please comment below. If we get enough number of comments, then surely we will upload the videos on exercise problems, students. So next thing is that we have discussed about tenths, students. Now we are going to discuss about hundreds. If you discuss about place values, we know ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, like that. To the left side of the dot, what about the right side of the dot? That is 1 tenths. We have discussed that. Now here is 100s, like that. So David, what he is doing, students? David was measuring the length of his room, students. He found that his length of his room is 4 meters and 25 centimeters. So he has expressed the length of his room in 4 meters and centimeters. Suppose if I ask you what is its total length in terms of its meters, you don't need to 10 centimeters, only you have to express the meters. In that case, if you want to write them in the meters, not in the centimeters, how he had to write? So one thing before going to that discussion we have to know is, that is 100 centimeters is equals to 1 meter, students. Okay, so what about 1 centimeter? That is nothing but 1 by 10th. 1 by 10th meters. That is the thing, students. Okay, previously what we have discussed is that 10 millimeters is equals to 1 centimeter. And what about 1 millimeter? that is 1 by 10th centimeter. Similar to that, analogous to that, here 100 centimeters equal to 1 meter. Here it is millimeter, it is meter, and it is centimeter. So what about 1 centimeter? That is 1 by hundredths meter, not tens, hundredths meters, friends. Okay, so 1 by hundredth of a meter, friends, like that. So according to this, so he measured that it has 25 centimeters. So 25 centimeters means what? That is 25 into 1 centimeter. So that is 25 into, for 1 centimeter it is 1 by 100 meters. So it is 25 by 100 meters. So if you write 25 by 100 meters, so 25 by 100 meters in terms of meters, students. Now 1 by 100 means 1 part out of 100 parts of a whole, students. As we have done for 1 by 10, let us try this to show this pictorially. So 1 by 100 means what? 1 by 100 means what? It is nothing but 1 part out of 100 parts. It is the meaning. So we have discussed about 1 by 10, that is 1 part out of 10 parts, whole parts, in the decimal form. Now we are going to learn about 1 by 100. It is also in the decimal form. Let us try pictorially. So now take a square, students, and cut and divide it into 10 equal parts. So the square is divided into 10 equal parts. And what part is the shaded rectangle of this square? So if you see this figure, 1 part of 10 parts is shaded. So how much part it is? That is 1/10, 1/10, 1 by 10th. 1 part out of 10 parts, that is 1/10, 1 by 10th, or 0.1, students. These things you have to remember. 1/10 or 1 by 10th or 1 by 100th. Okay, students. So now you divide the same square into 100 small squares. Okay, students. So then if you just shade the 1 part out of it, so what amount that is, what fraction it is out of the whole part? That is 1 by 100. So there are 100 parts, and out of 100 parts, the shaded region only 1 part. That is 1 by 100 or 1/100th of the whole square, students. So in decimal notation, 1 by 100 means what? 0.01. Or so finally, what is our conclusion is? What is our conclusion is 1 by 10th is 1/10. 1 by 10th is 1/10 is decimally 0.1. Similarly, 1 by 100th is 1/100th, and it is 0.01. It is decimally, students, decimally. That is the case. Okay, students. So again, what part of the whole square is the shaded portion? If you had shade 8 squares, 15 squares, 50 squares, 92 squares of the whole surface. So shaded here in this square, we have shaded only 8 squares. So 8 squares means each square is 1 by 100. So 8 squares means 8 by 100. So if you convert it to, so 8 squares. How many squares are there? 100 squares. How many out of 100 shaded? 8 squares. So that is 8 by 10th, students. So it is represented as 0.08. And 15 squares are represented. Total squares are 100. Out of 100, 15 are represented. So that's why it is 0.15. Suppose if it is 92 squares. So that is 92 squares out of 100 squares. It is what? That is nothing but 0.92. Like that you have to represent the decimal, students. Okay, students. So if you just look at the table, what are ones, 2 ones, 4 1/10s, and 3 100s, students. So the number given in table can be written as how much? That is 2 into 1s plus 4 1/10s. That's why that is 4 by 10, and 3 100s. That is 3 by 100. So it will give rise what? That is 2.43. Simply 2.43. We read it as 2.43. So example 4 is there here for us. So fill the blanks in the table using blocks information given below and write the corresponding numbers in the decimal form. So there are 100 blocks, students, total, and each block is having 10 boxes. So there are 10 blocks, and here there are unit boxes. How many unit boxes? 2 unit boxes. And there are 1/10 boxes. How many 1/10 box? That is 1/10 box. And there are 100 blocks, and how many there are? 500 box, 100 box. So if you want to write this whole information in the table, so first we have to write hundreds, that is 100. Next, that is 10 blocks, that is 10 blocks. Next is unit block, 1 blocks, that is 2 blocks. Next is 1/10 box, that is 1/110 blocks. Next is 1/100 box, that is 500, 1/100. So it is the hundreds, it is the tens, it is the ones, it is the 1/10s, and it is the 100s. If you have to represent it, how you will represent? That is hundreds. How many hundreds? 100. Plus how many tens? 3 tens. Plus how many ones? 2 tens. Plus how many 1/10s? That is 1/110s. How many 100s? That is 5 100s. So if you write them, it looks like 132.15. It is the case, students. Next thing is example 5. Okay, students, example 6. I am going to explain this. Write as decimals 4/4. So here example 7 I am going to teach you, students. Example 7. Here there is 4/5, 3/4, 7/1000. You have to write them in form of decimals. So first thing is 4/5. How to represent it in the form of decimals? If it is having denominator 10, we can simply write it 0.4 if it is 1/10, or if it is 1/100, that is if your numerator is 1/5, that is 0.0, like that. But there are no tens, then how we have to do this? For that we have to convert this fraction like that it has denominator 10 or 100, like that. So for that, if you multiply it numerator denominator with 2, you will get 8/10. So that is 18 to 1/10. How many 1/10 parts? There are 8 1/10 parts, that which means 8 parts out of 10, that is 0.8. It is the decimal, students. Suppose you have to represent 3/10, 3/4. So if you want to represent it by 3/4, so there is no denominator 10. So can you make it denominator 10 by multiplying with any number, both numerator and denominator? We can't. So if you can't make it into 10, we can check for whether we can make it for 100. So yes, if you multiply it with 25, you will get 100 in the denominator. So if you multiply this on numerator, you will get 75. So students, if it is 75 into 1/100, so that is 0.75. Like that, students. Next thing is 7/1000. It is 1000. It's simply, that is 0.007. That's it, students. So write as fractions in the lowest terms. So they have given the decimals. They have given the decimals, and we have to write them in the lowest form, students. Okay. Suppose if you take 0.04. So how many ones? 0 ones. How many 1/10s? 0 1/10s. How many 100s? That is 4 100s. So we will write it as 4/100. So that is nothing but 1/25. It is the most simplest form. Further it we can't do it. Suppose if you take 0.342. How to do this task? 0.342 for it, friends. So how many hundreds? No hundreds. How many tens? No tens. How many ones? No ones. But what it is having? It is having 1/10s, 100s, 1000s. How many 1/10s here it is having? So it is how many thousands it is having? That is 342 thousands. So that is simply, if you divide it 342 by 2 and 1000 also, by 2, you will get 171 by 500. It is the simple stick, students. You have to write each of that is example 10. I am leaving one example for you, students. You have to do it. It is your homework. So write each of the following as decimal: 306 and 700s. 306, so that is 306, and 700s, which means 7 100s, which means 306 plus 7 by 100. So that is 306 plus 0.07, which means 306.07 is the final answer, students. 11.235. How you will put 11.235? That is 11.235. And 9 and 25 thousandths. 9 and 25 thousandths. 9 means 9 plus 25 thousandths, that is 1 by thousands. That is equal to 9 plus 0.025, that is 9.025. Next thing is comparing decimal, students. Comparing decimals. So comparing decimals, students. So we know what are decimals, how to represent the decimals. That is 0.07 is a decimal, 0.1 is a decimal. So which is greater or which is smaller? How to compare the decimal, students? For that we will go and check for the pictorial representations first. Suppose take two pieces of square papers of the same size, students. Okay, we have taken two square pieces and 0.07 0.1, students. So we have divided them into 100 equal parts. So we have divided them into 100 equal parts. So for 0.07, what we have to do? We have to shade 7 out of 100. Next, for 0.1, how many we have to take? We have to 0.1 means that is 1 by 10. So we have to shade 1 out of 10, which means if you multiply both with 10, which means that is 1 out of 100. So 0.1 is 1 by 10, and if you multiply both by numerator denominator with 10, that is 10 by 100. So 10 parts out of 100 parts. Okay, students, so it is 7 parts out of 100 parts, it is 10 parts out of 100 parts. Then which is greater? Obviously 10 is greater. If you see here, there are only 7, there are 10 parts, so which is greater? So that's why finally what we can say 0.1 is greater than 0.07. So every time, students, by doing the pictorial graphs we can understand, but every time doing pictorials to compare decimals is somewhat difficult, students. So we have to find a better method for it. So students, and one more thing, if you have to compare two numbers which are like this, 32.55 and 32.5. If you see both the things, in both the cases, students, first we have to compare the whole part. Here also 32, here also 32, whole part is same. Next you have to compare after decimals, that is 1/10 part. 1/10 part is also same. And next you have to compare for 100ths part. If you see here, 100ths part is 5 and it is 0. So we are able to know that this is greater than that when are comparing 100th part. That is a simple way, students, to compare. So if you write them in numerical ways, 32.55, which means how many tens? That is 32 tens. Sorry, that is how many tens? 3 tens and 2 ones. That is 32 plus how many 110s? 5 110s. How many 100s? 5 100s. Okay students, like that. And if you write them 22.5, how many tens? That is 3. How many ones? That is the 2 plus that is 5 by 100. How many 100s? There are no 100s. So if you see clearly that this is greater. So which is greater? Here there are two numbers students. You have to tell me. You have to tell which is greater. So 1 or 0.99. So if you students, how if you write it is 1 is equals to 1 plus how many 110s? 0 110s. How many 100s? 0 100s. If you write it for this, how many ones? It is 0 that is 0 plus how many 110s? That is 9 110s. How many 100s? That is 9 100. So if you see, first you have to compare for hundreds, tens or ones. So those which are left to the decimal point. You see here 1, it is greater than 0. So obviously here it tells that this 1 is greater than 0.99. Next 1.0 and 1.093. 1.09, 1.09 and 1.093. Again you have to write 1 plus how many? 0 by 110s plus 9 by 100s. Here if you write 1 plus 0 by 110s plus 9 by 100s plus 3 by 1000s. So obviously see this and this are same, this and this are same, this and this are same, and it is having extra. So that's why this is the greater term students. Okay, finally 1.093 is greater than 1.09. Like that. First compare the terms which are left side, places which are left side of dot, like that students. Next thing is using decimals. So in our daily life we will use decimals. Where and where we use decimals? Using decimals. So in the case of money we will use decimal students. Suppose we know that 100 paise is equals to 1 rupee. So 1 paise means what? That is 1 by 100's rupee. So if at any place if there is 1 paise, then if you want to convert into rupees, how will you write it as 1 rupee? In other words, in other terms, it is 0.01 rupee. 1 pice, like that students. So if you are having 65 pies, that is 65 divided by 100, that is equal to 0.65. Suppose if you are having 78 pies, how we represent it is, that is 78 divided by 100 rupees. All these are rupees, that is 0.78 rupees. Like that students. Suppose if you are having 105 pies, how you will represent it? So 105 pies is 100 pies plus 5 pies. If you want to convert them into rupee, we know 100 pies is 1 rupee, so you can write it as 1 rupee plus 5 pies. 5 pies means what? That is 5 by 100 rupees. So that is 1 rupee. 500 is 0.005. That is 0.05. So that is 1.05 rupees. 105 rupees means 105 rupees. So 105 pies. 105 pies means 1.05 rupees. Like that you have to do the task students. Next thing is about length. So Mahesh wanted to measure the length of his tabletop in meters. So he had a 50 centimeters scale. So Mahesh is want to find out the length of his table. So he started measuring the table length, students. So he is having a 50 centimeter scale. Okay, students. So he found that the length of table was 156 centimeters. What will be its length in meters? So what he is having is 50 centimeters scale, and he measured using it the table length is 156 centimeters. But now what I am asking is what is the length in meters? What is the length of table in meters? What is the length of table in meters? Okay, students. So one thing we already know previously, that 100 centimeters equal to 1 meter, and 1 centimeter is equal to 1 by 100 meters, and 1 centimeter equal to 0.01 meters. This knowledge we know previously. So according to it, 156 centimeters means how much? That is 156 divided by 100 meters. So which means, so if you want to do this task, friends, we can do it in simple way. 150 centimeters, that is 100 centimeters plus 56 centimeters. 100 centimeters is 1 meter, so 1 meter plus 56 centimeters, that is 1 meter plus 56 centimeters. We have to convert it into meters, that is 56 divided by 100 meters. So that is 1 meter plus 0.56 meters, that is nothing but finally 156 centimeters is equals to 1.56 meters. 156 centimeters equal to 1.56 meters, like that, students. So next, Mahesh also wants to represent his length pictorially. So he wants to represent it pictorially, students. So he has taken a square shaped square paper, students, and he has made it into 100 equal parts. He has made it into 100 equal parts. So those 100 are completed. So he again taken another same like that, and he has filled 56 parts like that. So it is 100 centimeters, it is 56 centimeters. So finally it is 1.56 meters. So next thing we will use in our life, that is weight. We'll use the weight to measure what, friends? We will use the weight to measure what? To measure any things, and we will express it in also in decimal, students. So Nandu bought 500 grams potatoes, 250 grams capsicum, 700 grams, 500 grams, like that, 100 grams ginger, 300 grams radish. So what is the total weight of the vegetables in the basket? So he added all those things and he got 2350 grams. But here one thing we have to know is that 1000 grams is equals to 1 kilogram. So that 1 gram is equal to how much? That is 1 by 1000 kilograms, and which means 1 gram equal to 0.001 kilograms. So this is the thing you have to remember. So in terms of it, if you want to convert this, you can write it as 2000 grams plus 350 grams. So 2000 grams is 1000 grams is 1 kg. So 2000 grams is 2 kgs. 2 kgs plus 350 grams. So 350 grams means 350 into divided by 1000 kilograms. That is 2 kgs plus, if you do, that is nothing but 0.350 kgs. So finally 2.350 kilograms. So 2350 grams means 2.35 kilograms or 2.35 kgs, like that, students. So students, next thing is addition of numbers with decimals. How to add decimals, students? So sixth thing is addition of numbers with decimals. How to add the decimals? Adding decimals. So here there are 0.35 and 0.42. Both decimals, you have to add them. So first we will do it pictorially. First take 100 equal parts square and we are going to mark them 35. Mark 0.35 in the square by shading. Okay, students, which means 0.35 means 3 tenths, 3 1/10ths, coloring 5 hundredths, like that. Next 0.42 is in the square by shading 4 tenths and coloring 2 hundredths, 1/10ths, 100ths, students, like that. So they are like 1. Is there any ones? No ones. Is there any 1/10ths? Yes, there is 3 1/10ths, 4 1/10ths, 7 1/10ths. Is there hundreds? Yes, sorry, 3 1/10ths and 4 1/10ths, and 5 100ths, 2 100ths. So if you see 3 1/10ths, 4 1/10ths, 5 100ths, 2 100ths. So if you just add the 1/10ths, that is 3 plus gives rise to 7, and if you add the just 100ths, that is 5 plus to 7. So final answer is 0.77, students. So if you don't think it is so much difficult. 0.35 plus 0.42 is equals to 0.77. Just you have to add the corresponding places. Add the 1/10ths, add the corresponding 1/10ths, add the corresponding 100ths, like that. So if you want, I will give you more. If you want, I will show you. Suppose if it is 0.35 and if it is 0.42, just add tenths, that is 5 plus to 7, just add this 7 0.77, like that. In the same way you can do this also. So Lata spent 9 rupees 50 paise, 9.5 rupees for buying a pen and 2.5 rupees for one pencil. How much money did she spend? So total money she spent is what? That is, for pen she had spent 9.5 rupees. For pencil she had spent 2.5 rupees. What is the total money she has spent? Total money is 9.50 plus 2.50. That is nothing but 12 rupees. Simply adding, just addition, students. That is 9.50, 2.50. 0 plus 0, 0. 5 plus 5 is 10. You have to write 0 here. You have to carry the extra sum, that is 1. 9 plus 1 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 12. 12 point, like that. You can do this, students. So Rahul bought 4 kgs 90 grams of apples, 2 kgs 60 grams of grapes, and 5 kgs 300 grams of mangoes. Find the total weight. Okay, students, so what is the total weight of apples? That is 4 kgs 90 grams. So that is 4.090 kgs. Why, students? I will explain you. That is 4 kgs and 90 grams means that is 90 by 1000 kilograms. Okay, students, like that if you do, that is how much? That is 0.09. 0.09, that is 4.090 kilograms. Similar to this, 2 kg 60 grams. So according to previous task, students, just write it as 2.060 kilograms. Next thing is 5 kgs. Mangoes is 5 kgs 300 grams. According to it, that is 5.300 kgs. You have to add all these things. That is 4.090, 2.060, 5.300. add corresponding one tens, corresponding 100s, corresponding ones, corresponding tens, all that's corresponding. So 0 0 0, 9 plus 6 is 15, carry 1, that is 3 plus 1 is 4, and 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 5 is 11. So 11.45 kg students. That is the thing. Next thing is subtraction of decimal students. How to subtract? So it is also very similar students, very simple and similar. Subtraction of decimals. It is the one of the thing similar to the addition students. Just as what we do, we have to do it for subtraction. So there once, suppose we have to subtract 1.32 from 2.58. First thing you have to write them in this box: ones, tens, hundreds. How many ones? 2 ones. How many 1 tens? 5 1 tens. How many 100s? 8 100s. How many ones? 1 1. How many tens? 3 tens. How many hundreds? 2 hundreds. So just subtracting, just subtract the corresponding hundreds, corresponding tens, corresponding ones. So 8 minus 2, that is 6, 5 minus 3, that is 2, 2 minus 1, that is 1, and you have to write that is 1.26. Simply you can do this also. So Abhishek had 7.45 rupees. He bought toffees for 5.530. Find the balance left with him. Abhishek is having how many rupees? He is having 7.45 rupees. How much he has spent? 5.3. So we have to subtract 5.30. So it's very simple students. Just subtract corresponding things. 5 minus 0 is 5, 4 minus 3 is 1, 7 minus 5 is 2, and you have to write dot as here, like that. That is 2.15 rupees is remaining. So you have to do this, and I will explain you this. Kanchan bought a watermelon weighing 5 kgs. So example number 17. So Kanchan bought a watermelon. So it is weighing how much, friends? It is weighing 5 kgs. Watermelon is 5 kgs, 200 grams. The next thing is 2 kgs and 750 grams. Okay, students. So what is the weight of the watermelon left with Kanchan? So total weight of the thing is this, students. So he has given to his neighbor this much, students. So what is left with him? Just subtract it. So for that, first we have to write them in the form of, that is 5.200 kgs, and that is 2.750 kgs. Subtract it. 0. Here there is 10. Take 1, borrow. 10 minus 5, 5, 1, take 1, borrow. 11 minus 7, 4, 4, we have 1 has gone. So 4 minus 2, that is 2, 2.450 kgs left. This is the procedure we have to do, students. That's it, students. Our chapter is completed. So hope chapter completed, students. Hope you have understood well. So if you have any doubts, please feel free to comment below, students. So we are always ready to help you, students. So as our chapter is completed, just we are going to have the summary session. Just we recall what we have learned in this chapter, students. Our chapter name is decimal, students. Okay. So we are going to see these decimals, students. So in the decimals, there is a decimal point, students, and tens. So 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter, and 1 millimeter equal to 1 by 10th centimeter, students. Okay, 1 by 10th centimeter, 1/10 centimeter, it is called as 0.1 centimeter, students. Okay, we have learned about it pictorially, like that. Next thing is that representing decimals on number line. So if you take any decimal number, if you want to represent it, students, first you have to guess its value, and it is on the number line. 0.6 is there, it is between 0 and 1, like that, students. Next we have solved some problems, students. After that, fraction as decimal. Fraction as decimal. So how to represent the fractions as decimals? So if we are having any fractions with the denominator 10, we can easily represent them. If you have any fractions other than denominator 10, we have to convert them into the fractions, equivalent fractions whose denominator is 10s, and you have to simply do the task like this, students. Decimals as fraction. So how to convert the decimals into fractions, students? So for these, students, if you're having the decimals, then you have to write this ones and 1/10 like that, and you have to do the task like that, just add thing. And we have solved the example problems. Next is hundreds, students. So we know that 1 centimeter equal to 1/10th of meter, students, like that. 1/100th meter, that is 0.01, students. So we have understand it pictorially, students. After that we have solved the example problems, students. These example problems, hope you have understand it well, students. After that, there is exercise problems. Next is comparing decimals. How to compare two decimals, students? Pictorially we have understand it, students. And while comparing, one thing you have to is, students, first you have to see the places which are left side to the decimal point, that is whether they are the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, like that. After completing all these things, come to the right side of the decimal point. First compare the 1/10s, that is tenths, or 1/100s, that is hundreds, like that your comparison goes. After that, decimals. Using decimals, students, we will use them in money. So 1 rupee equal to 100 paisa, and 1 paisa equal to 1/100th rupee, that is 0.01 rupees. And length, we know 100 centimeters equal to 1 meter, 1 centimeter equal to 1/100 meter, that is 0.01 meters. And weight, and we know that 1000 grams equal to 1 kg, 1 gram equal to 1/1000 kg, that is 0.001 kgs. So next thing is how to add decimals. So in the addition of decimals, just add corresponding ones, corresponding 1/10s, corresponding 100s. That is the thing. So next thing is adding subtracting decimals. In the case of subtraction also, just subtract the corresponding ones, corresponding tens, and corresponding 100s. Like that you have to do the task, students. So finally our chapter is completed. Our chapter summary is also completed, students. So hope you have understood well, students. So don't forget to subscribe Sreenath Academy. So please have a nice please share and like our video, students. Have a nice day. Keep smiling. Bye bye.